The All Progressives Congress, that is the ruling party, is organizing its first National Executive Committee meeting in months. And a convention, they say, is in the offing. What else on their to-do list? Welcome back, everyone. Better late than never, they say. Critics and members of the opposition party believe the APC's inability to organize a convention has been due to the fact that the House is not in order. The APC says a convention is coming, but first, a NEC meeting. Date and agenda of the convention is expected to be determined at the NEC meeting of the party. So the party's National Executive Committee will be meeting this Tuesday, which is prerogative of the convention. Joining me from our Abuja studio, Mr. Moniedafe, a member of the APC in our Abuja studio, was the former chairman of the defunct ACN and the FCT. Many thanks for joining us on the program. It looks so much that it's been a tough battle for your party to put up a NEC meeting, for example. The opposition party will even make poked the APC ruling party that is a party that cannot even put together a NEC meeting, not to talk of a convention. A convention that has not held in 2 years as against the constitution of the party. So it comes to the point of people asking, the party is in disarray, is it?
Well, good evening, Nigerians. Sheon, thanks for having me. Definitely, we are not in disarray. Slow and steady wins the race. Now, some things that happen behind the scenes, you never know about them. But I want to assure Nigerians that the APC leadership at national level is on top of the game. The convention will come up after the NEC meeting. And it was this same feeling that people had about us prior to the 2014 national primaries that we had in Lagos. And how did it turn out? That was a milestone in the history of politics in Nigeria, because we had a 48-hour national convention primaries, and everything turned out very, very well under the current leadership of the current chairman, Chief Oyegun. So there's nothing to worry about. We're on top of the game. Come Tuesday, Nigerians will see what we have been up to. Nothing to worry about, Sean.
When you say, I've heard this from politicians several times, nothing to worry about, we're on top of the game. But in the end, you see the house falling apart like a pack of cats. We will dig deeper into some of the crises, and we will give the nation a benefit of insight of what is happening in the APC. A lot of issues. Well, the PDP also have their own issues. They're having a national convention coming, elective national convention. Up next on the program, as the PDP tries to win back power in the center, we will lead the party, and of course, we'll talk about the politics of the APC National Convention. That's going to be in a moment, everyone. Join us again. Thank you, everyone, for staying with us. We're going to visit the both sides of the country, talking about the ruling APC, which has a big task on his hands, and also the PDP that is seeking to get a leadership that will steer the affairs of the party in the coming days. Mr. Moniedafe is our guest in our Abuja studio, talking about the APC and the planned NEC meeting, and of course, what has become an elusive national convention of the ruling APC. Can you tell Nigerians why the APC has not had a national convention in 2 years? It's against the constitution of your party.
Well, people tend to forget easily that in the early years of the PDP, when they took over in 1999, they had issues with a lot of things. Now it is a practice that when you take over such a responsibility, things that you never envisaged come to play. And let me just remind Nigerians briefly, one thing I don't want to hear from Nigerians is when you want to state the obvious, they tell you you are complaining, you want to blame somebody. This party took over Nigeria at its lowest. Nobody envisaged the kind of rot that we met on ground. Even the former president did not know the kind of rot his leadership had wreaked on this country. Now we came on board and we started seeing a lot of issues. If the party had gone about having its convention, when we had the Avengers bombing our oil pipelines, when we had crude from $110 to $120 per barrel, coming down to $30 per barrel, when we had all kinds of activities over the place, I'm sure these Nigerians will have said, why are you worried about convention or NEC when the country is on fire?
All right, is
so
that, if I may butt in quickly here, is that the real reasons before you're not, because I've heard leaders of your party on this program who had said the president was not around, they couldn't have held a convention without a president. In fact, governance is one hand, party politics is another hand. When it comes to law, the legality of it, that a party must organize a national convention at least once in 2 years, which your party has run far off.
Okay, Balore, the president only got sick a few months ago. Before now, we had about 18, 19 months of the country in a mess. Like the governor just said, but no governor. 20 local governments of the Northeast under Boko Haram. Avengers bombing our pipelines for no reason. People asking for the president to set up an economic team to bring us out of the doldrums. And then suddenly we went into recession. We could not be thinking about party politics when the country was on fire. So if anybody said anything about president being around, that was last few months.
All right, let me put this to you, because it looks so much that your facts are different from the fact that some of the members and leaders of your party are talking about. Do you know that funding was a major problem of your party not conducting some of the major activities such as a convention?
Now, if you're talking about funding, the president is currently fighting the PDP for using government money to fund party activities. If we now say we want to look for legitimate funds to do this thing, is that wrong? It can't be wrong. We can't be faulted for that. Because the PDP was faulted. Today, we have Dasuki, we have Olisametu, and the rest of them at the various levels of the court for using government money to fund party affairs. Now, if the president wants to stop that, is that wrong?
Okay,
for me,
maybe
NEC is a party affair.
Quickly,
let me finish.
No, just hold on. If I may put this in also, is the issue of the fact that a member of the National Working Committee of the APC is currently suspended. Another matter is the fact that even the chairman of the party, some leaders of the party are asking that it should be removed. Are those not enough crises that is stopping the party from moving forward?
That will be a mistake if you remove the leadership of the party right now. It will be a big mistake because we have challenges, we know. But the leadership right now is surmounting them one after the other. Now, two wrongs don't make it right. If you claim that the current leadership is not doing right, removing him is not the solution. Or removing them is not the solution. For the leadership who was removed, the person was, I'm sure you're talking about, Timmy Frank. He had issues with the party. Now, with due respect, Timmy is a friend. But I tell you that if you are a leadership of a party, you don't bring out the daily needs of the party in public. You find a way to resolve it internally. That should not dictate the mood of any other person. We have challenges. We must agree that these challenges are there and they are surmountable. One way not to solve it is to try to remove the leadership, because before you stabilize, there will be more damage. So I appeal to anybody who thinks he has any issues to please calm down.
Okay. Mr. Moniedafe,
Tuesday will come, we'll have this convention, and things will move on.
Oh, interesting. Now, you realize also that the party also has crises in some states where leadership is a major problem. In Adamawa, in a couple of states, there are huge crises in the party. And the question is, how is the party able to galvanize itself to solve some of these problems?
Let me answer you by telling you that we came into governance with nobody giving us hope. We were in opposition, we surmounted everything and we came on board. Now, one way I know the APC is solving these problems is that we don't pretend that there are no problems. We don't pretend. We speak about them, we call people, and we ask for reconciliation. Unlike the past, you hear it is a family affair. APC is concerned about Nigerians. We will never take Nigerians for granted. Anybody has his views, contrary views, bring it out, we'll call it to the table, and we'll resolve it. I'm an Adamawa person, I'm from Adamawa State. I'm aware there's a problem there, but I assure you that the issues will be resolved. We will not sweep anything under the carpet. We will discuss with people and we will get solutions. That is how we
for a
came out
moment,
of opposition
let's quickly
and
switch
defeated
gears.
a ruling party in 2015.